Hello and welcome to Business Standard Views of the Week. Is India's hope of high medium-term growth rates justified? How should India respond to China's strategy of push and shove along the LAC? What can hockey teach us about how to make our country prosper? Subscribe to Business Standard and read this week's top opinion pieces to find out. We start off with an incisive examination of how far along India is on the road to achieving higher growth. The Chief Economic Advisor has forecast 6.5% to 7% growth in 2022 to 23 and 8% after that, whereas the World Bank's figures go the other way, from 7.5% to 6.5%. The IMF is more optimistic, putting the growth number for next year at 8.5%. A step jump in medium-term growth rates of the kind projected needs all engines of the economy to be firing. T.N. Neenan's latest column reveals which of these engines are chugging along and which need urgent repairs. Time alone will tell if we'll achieve our growth targets or not. In the meantime, let's focus on one sector that could reap rich dividends for the whole economy if we play our cards right. In 1930, the great economist J.M. Keynes made what would have appeared to be then a stunning prediction. Well, it hasn't quite panned out as he thought. He was right on the ball about one thing. Add to that a particular trend that has held for the past 150 years, and you get a candidate for the job creator that economies across the globe need. Neelkant Mishra's latest column reveals what that is and how it could benefit India. Whether we'll be able to tap this opportunity for a better future remains to be seen. But we're already witnessing developments that could bring more immediate benefits. In a welcome move, the Finance Ministry recently moved a bill in Parliament to scrap retrospective taxation. Will this be enough to undo the damage to India's reputation as an attractive investment destination? Has the government finally taken a decisive step towards ending tax terror? Business Standard answers these questions and explains what all of this could mean for cases like the Ken dispute, which have led to the humiliation that India has recently suffered. The government's change of heart on retrospective taxation has been lauded by all and sundry. We know the returns it will yield, but the end result of change is not always so clear. With that in mind, we examine where the pandemic-altered world is headed. From the story of Asia's rise and the dreams that marked the era of globalization, to macroeconomic policy across the globe and the condition of our young, COVID-19 has changed the world as we collectively know it. In his latest column, Rathan Roy lists 5 important ways in which this has happened. Speaking of things being different, let's look at the movement on the monetary policy front. There was no surprise in the outcome of the RBI Monetary Policy Committee meeting. However, the subtext of this policy was a bit different from that of the June policy. Tamal Bandyopadhyay's latest column explains just how that's so. It also outlines the time frame of the unbinding of the super accommodative stance of the monetary policy. Now, leaving economic and global matters behind, we come to our borders and neighborhood. We start off with an examination of the strategy our adversary to the north has adopted. Playing Chinese checkers on the LAC is not for the faint-hearted. The Indian army has shown it can face down the PLA, but it is too often held back by a political leadership that lacks boldness. In his latest column, Ajay Shukla outlines how India should respond as China continues to deploy a strategy of push and shove to solidify its position along the LAC. Shifting our focus from the LAC, we come to a western neighborhood and explore India's options in that troubled region. Since the abrupt withdrawal of US forces from Afghanistan, the resurgent Taliban has taken over more and more territory. The brutality that has accompanied this group's surge suggests that the nature of its regime is unlikely to differ substantially from its late 1990s avatar. Given the history of hijacking and heightened terrorism in the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir in that era, the return of the Taliban raises new challenges for India. Business Standard outlines what the government needs to do, both abroad and at home, to craft a credible and coordinated response. The troubling news coming from India's immediate neighborhood is unlikely to abate anytime soon. But there has been some recent good news in the world of Indian sports coming from farther abroad. We take a look at what the country could learn from it. Indian hockey has attained glory at the Tokyo Olympics, bringing the national sport back into focus in a cricket-crazed country. But what does the makeup of Indian hockey teams, both past and present and belonging to both sexes, teach us about how a sport or a nation prospers? In which direction does it move the debate over caste and merit? While answering these questions in his latest column, Shekhar Gupta also lays out the interesting history of the sport in India. Find the links to these columns and editorials in the video description below.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard For more news, views, and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram, and LinkedIn.